Hello there and welcome to the Card Grotto. Today, as part of my Craft Favourites 2015, I'm going to be talking about die cutting. I'm going to start off with dies, and I have to be honest, I haven't been that adventurous with dies this year. I've kept very much to the basics, so I'm just going to share those basic dies with you today that I've been using a lot. So this is the Mama Elephant Femme Frames die. I use the rectangle die as part of this set, literally almost on every single card. I really like it. For me, it's kind of like the perfect size to use as a layer on a card base, and then I tend to do all of my actual kind of card design onto that layer and then add it to a card base. Just really like them, and like I said, yeah, perfect perfect size for me, and I really like that stitching detail on them as well. Along the same lines is the Simon Says Stamp Stitched Shapes dies. I have the squares, the rectangles and the circles. I really like these dies. I especially like that you've got the double stitching on them, so if you make kind of like an aperture card or like a window in a card, you've got that stitching detail on both the positive and the negative, which I personally really like. Just kind of gives an extra kind of design feature to the card. As I said, these three I use a lot, and you can make frames with them and all sorts of different things, and I just really like them, and they are pretty good value for money as well. There is an ovals that come in the this kind of range as well. I don't have those, but I'm sure I'll probably end up getting them at some point. But yes, really like these dies. Next up is the Mama Elephant Landscape Trio Border dies. Again, really like these just for basic kind of scene making really. So you can use the kind of slopey lines as grass or any kind of ground or snow, anything like that. Again, I really like that they've got that stitch detail on them, but you could use them upside down if you didn't want the stitching on them in particular. But I do like the stitching detail on them, and I use those quite a bit. Next up is the Clearly Beesotted Rounded Tag die. This probably is one of my favourite tag dies. I don't actually have that many, but this is the one that I kind of reach for. I really like the basic shape of it. It's quite a nice size. You can fit that on cards quite easily, or you could just give it as, you know, as an actual tag. And yeah, just really like that die. Next up, kind of like a background die, is the Little Inca Quilted Stitched Pattern die. Again, really like this. It just gives the impression of the stitched lines, which is quite nice. It's just, as I said, like a kind of like a background to a card, and you could have a focal point on the top. As you can see, you've got those lovely stitching lines, and it just kind of looks, I guess, like the name suggests, like a quilted pattern. Just think it's quite pretty. And then last but not least is actually an impression plate. This is the Paper Tray Ink Linen and Canvas impression plate. I tend to use the linen side of it more so than the canvas side. This is the linen one here, and it literally just gives an impression onto the card or whatever you're embossing on. It's like a linen texture, and I just think it's quite nice. You can obviously buy linen cardstock, but since I happen to like the cardstock that I own, which is smooth, I can get the benefit of having both, so I can just run this through my die cutting machine using that plate. So I'm just going to quickly talk about a couple of essential die cutting accessories that I find really helpful to use. This is the tan mat to start with. Loads of different companies have these, and they're just really helpful for embossing in particular. So if you have this underneath the dies won't cut through your cardstock, they will just emboss, and that's obviously an added feature to using dies. And then also this is a metal shim. Again, quite a few different companies have these, and it's just a plate of metal really, but it's really helpful if you're using intricate dies. It just gives an extra little thickness to the layer. So for my mini giveaway today, I have a Shaker Shapes die to give away. This is from Clearly Beesotted, and it's the Shaker Shapes Diamond Thanks die. I just think it's really lovely. You can use it obviously for shaker cards, but you could use it for apertures as well. To enter the giveaway, you just have to go over to my blog and follow the instructions, and the giveaway will finish on the 5th of January 2016. Thank you so much for watching today, and I hope to see you tomorrow for my next instalment of my craft favourites.